If you are working with buyers right now and you've ever been ghosted after showing them homes for weeks, or you find out that they went and wrote an offer with another agent, or that they just couldn't even afford or qualify for the houses you've been showing them, you know how expensive and frustrating that mistake is. And that actually happens more than most people want to admit. Even now that buyer agency agreements are legally required, we're still seeing it, we're still hearing about it. So I'm going to share some tips today on how to pre-qualify your buyers so you are investing time where it makes the most sense. So you know the old way of doing business, and some of you are still operating this way. It is you get a buyer call or a buyer lead and they want to go see a house. You rush out the door, go show it to them, drop what you're doing, drive across town, and you didn't take the time to properly qualify this buyer. And I don't think that we're serving them at the highest level when we do that. So this isn't even about us and our time. It's how do we make sure that we're providing a great experience, education, and service to our clients. So let's get into some tips. So the framework that I like to use for this and that my team uses for this is called LPMAMA. So if you've been watching videos for a while, I'm sure you have heard of this before. If you're new here, I'll run through it really quickly. LPMAMA stands for location, price, mortgage, agency, motivation, and appointment. So it's really a framework for your conversations so that you don't forget to ask the most important questions. You want to start out asking them about the location that they're looking in. Are they looking specifically in a certain school district or a specific neighborhood, or are they just kind of open to wherever they find the right house? Price point is pretty obvious. It's what price point they feel most comfortable in and what payment they can afford. And then also we go into mortgage next, and we want to make sure that we ask them if they're pre-qualified already and who their lender is. And if they're not pre-qualified, we want to make sure that we get them pre-qualified with a trusted lender. I will add also, if they're already pre-qualified with some of the online services where they can basically just put in a little information and it will spit out a pre-qual letter for them. That's not what we're talking about here. We want to make sure that they've actually had their income and their assets verified by a loan officer. Dig in a little there and make sure they have a real pre-approval, not just auto-generated pre-qual. The next question you want to ask them is just how have they been looking at homes so far? You're trying to just get an idea of how far along in the process they might be, if they might be working with someone or have seen some houses with someone. That is my way of asking without asking, do you have an agent? I just ask, so tell me, how have you been looking at homes so far? Have you been looking primarily online, at open houses, and let them talk. Following that, we want to ask some questions to gauge their motivation. So I ask things like, so tell me, what has you buying in this market? I mean, you and I both know that there's a lot of people sitting on the fence. So if they're wanting to get out and look at houses, I want to know what's driving that decision. We want to find out what are their goals? Why are they willing to brave the rates and affordability and actually purchase? And then finally, we want to ask them for an appointment. This is the part that a lot of people forget, and it could be that you go out and show them a house, but I like to start with a consultation in the office so that I can properly explain the agency agreement, commissions, the transaction and process for purchasing in this market, and go over really what they should expect when working with me. So the appointment is really important, and it sets the rest of your transaction up for success. If you just go out and get an agency agreement signed on the hood of a car without properly explaining things, or send it via DocuSign and tell them that you need it signed before you show them the house, I think you're cutting some corners that'll come back to bite you later. So make sure that they understand the value of sitting down and meeting with you in advance of seeing the house. And I think you're going to see that you get more commitment when you take the time to go through your value proposition and educate the buyer. And then you also have much better transactions that will actually make it to the closing table, which is what everybody wants. So LPMAMA, it's your framework to make sure that you have the information that you need to set you and the client up for success the whole way through. I'm Jacqueline Smith. I hope this was helpful for you. If there's ever anything I can do to support you in your business, reach out anytime. I'm always happy to talk real estate with you. We'll catch you on the next video.